And the aviation report, I need some more. That's going to be great. I'm pumped for December 6th. And next week, we're going to be at Joe's house in Oceanside. That's going to be great. All right. One thing about Richard, whenever I give him a challenge on a fascinating story in aviation, I always know Richard will knock it out of the park. And I ran across a very fascinating, controversial story, and I knew Richard would be on top of it and nail it. So without further ado, our aviation expert, Richard Kaplan.
Thank you, Howie. Thank you, Long Beach, and good evening, Long Island. The skies are cleared. We're cleared for takeoff. Let's fly. It was June 8th, with the smell of acrid smoke filling his cabin, and Allegiant Air MD-83 made an emergency landing at Florida's St. Pete Clearwater International Airport, just outside of St. Petersburg, Florida. On the ground, fire crews had informed the pilot that his #1 engine, which is this engine, this is the actual jet that caught fire. This is an MD-83. This is your #1 engine. Apparently, there was acrid amount of black smoke coming out. Fire crews informed him, and under Federal Aviation Administration laws, the pilot is responsible. It is the pilot's responsibility to determine whether or not the danger is real enough to evacuate the jet. This is going to play a very crucial role. An unidentified voice on his radio, which is believed to be someone from that airline, but we'll never know for certain, but the CVR did detect it, told him to hold off evacuating the aircraft. Now, mind you, there's 144 passengers on this MD-83. They have no idea what's going on. If you're a passenger, obviously you're going to be freaking out. You're looking out the window, seeing black smoke coming out of your jet. You just want to get off. Kinzer had to make a decision that terrifies every pilot in this industry, and that is, do I evacuate or do I not? As an aviation expert, my first instinct is to go ahead, green light the evacuation, get them off the jet, get everyone to safety. That is your priority. This is your responsibility as a pilot. Well, apparently the airline didn't agree with this. Not only did the airline yell at Kinzer, they fired him. They sent him a termination letter 6 weeks after the incident, saying that you are being let go from the airline because you practiced unsafe techniques, mainly evacuating the jet when you didn't need to. Now, the reason I believe Allegiant took this stance is Allegiant Air, it's no secret, is not exactly a darling in the industry. They've had several incidents involving their aircraft. And the airline is looking for any way to cover up the fact that they're not the best to begin with. What better way than to throw this one pilot to the wolves? That was their first mistake. The second mistake is the fact that the FAA has a clear regulation stating it is the pilot's ultimate responsibility to determine the safety of his or her aircraft at that particular time. Obviously, you take off 3 minutes into the flight, you're informed of a situation, so you return to the airport, you do everything by the books. The fire crews, along, by the way, with the United States Coast Guard that operates an air station at Clearwater, everyone knew this plane had something seriously wrong. So right away, my opinion is the airline had no right to do this. It is setting a horrible precedence for the industry, because now you're going to have pilots terrified to evacuate if there is a real reason to do so. My feeling is very strongly, I've done this in simulation numerous times. Whenever you have a fault on your instrument panel that illustrates that there is a problem with an engine, the first thing you want to do is shut that engine down. You want to get to the nearest airport that can accommodate this plane. Clearwater happens to be a base for Allegiant. They operate a hub there. So it was no secret that's where he went. When he got on the ground, taxied the jet, fire crews came, engine was belching, he deployed a $25,000 ramp on each of these doors. Is a ramp that inflates and you see the passengers slide down. The airline even cited that that was an unnecessary cost. So right away, you're starting to wonder yourself, as a passenger, are you valuing your airplane more than you're valuing my life? Because if that's the case, this is going to set one of the worst precedents for the industry. And as a watchdog, I have vowed to prevent this by whatever means necessary. It is my responsibility to make sure that the industry operates on the standard of safety. And it is your obligation as a passenger to make sure your airplane is safe to fly. If you feel it isn't, you have the right not to get on it. In this case, Captain Kinzer filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit this Thursday with federal court. I applaud him, and now that we are going to the internet, I am sending him an invite to come onto the show and tell his experience personally. My email address is xcartman@yahoo.com. Captain Kinzer, it would be my honor and my privilege to defend you to the people of Long Island, because as far as we're concerned, you're a hero. You saved these 144 lives, regardless of what your company told you. And that's what it's really all about. It's not about profit, it's about people. And when these companies learn to understand that, people like me won't be doing this anymore. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. Now, on a personal side note, I just wanted to bring up something, as we all are aware of what's happening in Paris. In the wake of the horrible tragedy in France, may we all take just a moment to keep the souls of the 129 who were so senselessly removed from this world in our hearts. Know that we all stand united behind you in keeping their memories alive. Vive la France, and God bless you all. And to my French viewers, I do speak a little French in your native language. À la suite de la horrible tragédie en France, posons nous Baudrey, une irritante pour Godin, les amis de les 129 qui ont été de façon insensée retaillées de ce monde dans nos cœurs. Savons que nous sommes tous unis derrière vous en gardant les souvenirs alive. Vive la France, et Dieu nous bénisse tous. You are in our hearts, you are in our souls, you are in our minds. God bless you always, and know that our country, the United States, will stand behind you every step of the way. On that note, to those 129 souls, I posthumously clear you for your takeoff ascent to heaven. God bless you. And to the rest, we've just been cleared for takeoff. Good night.
Great job, Richard.
Excellent. Thank you.
And did Richard nail it as I thought he would on the airline?
Yes.
And I second the thought, and it's so tragic, and you know, and a lot of the people killed in France are young students. They targeted the youth, so my heart breaks for all the people who lost their lives, and our thoughts and prayers are with their families and loved ones. Right now,